Hello everyone, today we are going to present a case analysis or a case study that is all about the global hotels and resorts building a long-term customer relationship. And for today's case study, we have four agenda to tackle. First is the introduction, which is basically about the background or the history of the organization, the thesis statement, and also the problem and issue that we analyze inside the organization. And next, we have the SWOT analysis or the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats coming from internal and external organization. The third one is the recommendation to the issue and the problems or giving solution to those problems that we analyze inside the organization. And the last one is the answer to all of the problems related in this case study. So, without further ado, let's start with the introduction. So, for us all to know, global hotel and resorts industry experienced a strong growth during the prior year. And that is because of the customer and the companies that is very positive with the financial resources of the industry and also investing much more amenities while traveling. While with its history, it's been said that during mid-1940s, GHR was founded as a subsidiary with an airline company that accommodate three distinct different hotels. First is the five-star or the upmarket, and the second is the four-star or the mid-market, and the last one is the global partner hotels. Actually, there are several conglomerates that acquire the GHR, and first of that is the Japanese conglomerates that acquired the GHR during late 1990s and taken by the United Kingdom during early 1998. So, they conducted a research that revealed that they target a niche market during a several years, and that success is highly linked with working and satisfying customer or business traveler. So, in order to maintain and strengthen the relationship between the hotel groups and the organization originating frequent business traveler, they introduced the KCMP or the Key Client Management Project during 1994. So, after they introduced the Key Client, actually the Key Client Management Project is a critical element with their revenue business strategy. Hence, it's also a critical to the success of their business strategy. So the first issue that they encountered is there is no formal procedure or arrangement in implementing and developing the strategic decision in the head level office. Second is the external environment. The third one is the lack of informal communication and coordination between the hotel manager and the corporate manager. And the last one is the confusion, lack of information, and a little support from the regional sales office.
In conducting the case study, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of global hotels and resorts were determined and analyzed. For the strengths, GHR offers a range of hotel service standard, operating 5-star for upmarket, 4-star for mid-market, and global partner hotels, which means wider service option for the market. It has a firm strategy of continuous expansion throughout different countries across the globe. Another is its global strategy providing international standards along with the local flavor which varies in the location of each company hotel. The company has high regard for hotel general managers and has a very strong culture and tradition within the company's organization. For the weaknesses, GHR lacks in having a dependable system for data collection, storing, and analysis about company market and key client companies. The company also has insufficient knowledge and skills of sales staff in collecting and analyzing data systematically and continuously. There are no proper procedures and plans in developing and implementing strategic decisions at head office level. There is evidently poor communication and coordination between the head office and the hotels. Opportunities for the company include high globalization of markets and increase in key client company operations worldwide. The rapid technological advancements that streamline operations, the improvement in the communication and coordination between different management levels within the organization, and the growing global trend in the utilization and popularity of the key client management concept. Threats for GHR include the global economic slowdowns and poor market conditions that affect the implementation of company strategies. Company travel budget cuts affecting travel, thus a decrease in sales, and the major cultural differences in working practices and developing relationships with key client companies across the world.
For the continuation of this case study, I'll be discussing recommendations to problems and issues. As for the recommendation, GHR has been able to achieve more than what the company was aiming for, and that is a stronger revenue source. Since we are talking about such multinational companies, in this case, we'll be tackling about what issues they have encountered. The first issue, there was no formal procedures and arrangement in developing and implementing strategic decisions in head office level. Why? Because there were employees who were part of the project that were not properly informed about the KCMP. For the recommendation, the company should enforce a formalized approach in creating strategic decisions, since most plans originate at head office level and will support project implementation. Also, time management should also be prioritized. It is advisable to plan their day in advance and plan what should be done first. Next issue was lack of informal communication and coordination between hotel managers and corporate office, because there was no substantial support for understanding of the KCMP by hotel managers. It was also mentioned that they did not believe or support a structured plan. For the recommendation, the corporate office should establish genuine interest in developing programs for the company and its clients, and not solely focus on generating revenue and develop programs to make themselves feel better.
Recommendations to problems and issue. One of it is the external environment. The global economy during the implementation stage of KCMP was poor. There were travel budget cuts in most key client companies, and there were major differences in client company behavior across the globe. These major external factors affected how the project was carried out and had an impact to its overall success. In order to settle issues regarding the external environment, they must be able to quickly identify and respond to changes and have the flexibility to deal with the unexpected market condition. Another one is the confusion. A lack of information and little support from regional sales offices and hotels, system or software upgrade was an issue during the implementation of the project. The idea of an upgrade was rejected due to the company's budget restriction, which in time brought different further difficulties to its employees, considering the work should be still done manually. Additionally, the training process, which should have been conducted prior to the project's implementation, was only given attention when the process seems to be going all over the place and no significant process was seen. Employees were not used to spending time in their offices in order to analyze data, prepare action plans, and understand the potential analysis, strategic part document, and revenue plans. They found these activities very time-consuming. They did not always disclose information about the travel budget. Salespeople face difficulties in finding and obtaining relevant and reliable information about the client's companies. The training for the KCMP implementation should have been prioritized in the early stages of the project.
For number 1, how did the external environment influence the deployment and implementation process of KCMP? In the early 1990s, the global hotel industry experienced economic slowdowns, and Gulf War caused most hotels to cut down travel budgets. As a result, the company introduced Key Client Management Project to improve its relationship with key client companies. High globalization of markets and rapid technological advancement drove the company to start the project. Major differences in working and developing relationships with key client companies also created an influence. These significant differences made it difficult to implement the project.
For number 2, how would you describe the organizational context of global hotels and resorts? GHR shows the overall organizational context of having international standards together with its local flavors. In fact, people inside the company argues that this culture is truly international, since it requires senior people to travel extensively with the company. It referred to itself as having the unique ability to reflect the vibrance of the countries in which it operates. Number 3. How did this organizational context influence the implementation process of the KCMP? The organizational structure, which focuses on providing international standards together with the local flavor, is much more inclined to the strategy of KCMP, which is approaching the key client companies globally using a uniform sales approach. The implementation process was influenced in a way that the process of KCMP considers a global basis in improving the market sales approach to their key client firms. Number 4. How was the KCMP developed and implemented? KCMP is being developed to be a market-oriented sales approach which utilizes the sales resources of the company. This would help them in growing revenues by focusing on the market globally in approaching large client firms. After the hotel board members approved, the aims and details of this project were transferred to the area presidents worldwide. Sales employees and managers from regional sales offices and hotels learn more about this project through sales training workshops.
For question number 5, how useful were the initial plans? Their initial plan is to stretch out their connections to develop a stronger revenue that will benefit them in the future, and to increase their profit performance by 7% while coping with the economic depression. They created the KMCP to build continuous partnership with their current markets as well as to improve and secure their transaction. What were the challenges to the development and implementation of the KCMP? There were reports that there was uncertainty, lack of details, and little support when the project was first launched. Majority thought that they somehow didn't understand why the plan was important. The preparation and piloting timeframe process was over a year with the aid of the initiation of such a variety of preparation activities. Another factor for the development is the external company's introduction of training programs. The chart shows some of the implementation activities and key events with the year 1994 to early 1998 that highlights the development and challenges that KCMP have undergone. Question number 7. Which school of thought would best explain the development and implementation process of the KCMP? According to Henry Mitzberg, the design school proposes a model of strategy making. It looks at strategy formation as a process of conception. The strategy design process is completed once a strategy has been formulated and then can be implemented. The design school laid the foundation of strategic planning. What were the main barriers and challenges when implementing the KCMP? The first 3 challenges focus on salespeople in terms of distinctive variations in the effectiveness of the company's marketing efforts. It was challenging for them to find and acquire accurate and complete information about the customers, and they also needed to work out of several jobs. The fourth challenge is about hotel managers, who show that they seem to have no significant support and in assessing the KCMP. The last challenge is that the salespeople and managers from various nations with different degrees, the KCMP found it difficult to comprehend and incorporate in their own cultural business strategies. Lastly, what can we learn from this case study? Time is the most precious thing in the world. Learning about how to effectively manage time is an important skill that someone will need and to acquire to be successful in everything. This case study teaches us the planning and time management helps a business identify its goals. When a team works together to set goals, it allows everyone to be on the same page, working towards a common shared purpose. Workers are better able to recognize ways to work to achieve goals, as well as to behaviors to avoid that could prevent the company from reaching its objectives.
And to summarize our case study, we came up into an idea The executives and sale managers wanted to develop a strategy which could help GHR to increase the growth of their revenue. They likely assumed that when the key client management project started in 1994, the revenue began to rise in the succeeding years. The revenue plans of 1997 and 1998 also created an impact to the escalation of revenue by at least 7% every year. This only made the executives much more convinced on how advantageous this project is in lifting the revenue growth of the GHR. Nonetheless, the hotel managers stressed the fact that the individual efforts of each hotel and the positive economic cycle worldwide must also be considered when analyzing the growth and improvement of the revenue status of GHR, since it also created a contribution to it. This causes the pressure and rivalry between the head office or the sales department and the hotel entities to carry on. With the implementation of the new project, regional offices have become much more focused and a standardized marketing plan was already developed as well as the hotel rate can partially adapt. The variation in the performance at the hotels and resort was mainly due to lack of effective sales system that led to the slower development process of the KCMP. Several reports by the staff from the marketing department were mostly successful outcomes in the company. Salespeople are now better trained, people and equipped all over the company and being able to handle future marketing operations appropriately and successively. As one marketing information manager responded by saying, "Everyone feels proud of what they have achieved in the last 4 years with the same or less resources. They have achieved a significant increase in room nights and room revenue from the point of view of pure targeting. I think they have been able to prioritize and control their time better. They do not feel that they are out of control. All the experience of the construction process and the challenges of implementing the key concept management project certainly contribute to marketing of the hotels. Problems and issues can be resolved by making ways to encourage, instruct, and cultivate salespeople. Every accomplishment takes some time to achieve, and giving additional time to understand new things and improve oneself is a reason for that." Through the introduction of the Key Concept Management Project, a new standardized plan and system has been established to control all sales management activities throughout the global hotel and resorts industry.